I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, we're back.
We're back.
Gosh.
Just so much happened.
I know. It's like every single week with this show, it just gets crazier and like more twisted and messed up.
More twisted and more, what's the word I'm looking for? More diabolical and more debaucherous.
Yes, and I totally like take this for real life, so I'm totally believing this is what's actually happening at the Vatican right now.
I agree. Even though the total opening was totally surreal. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was jumping ahead.
No,
but like
no.
mystery character with the patch.
Oh my gosh, I know. Let's get right into it. I'm Jessie Zahner. Welcome to the Young Pope. I'm sorry, the New Pope After Show. It's sometimes hard to remember because it's like the same show.
The same show.
The New Pope After Show. We're covering season 2, episode 6, the 6th episode, which is what his title is. And I'm here with my boy, Al G.
What up,
him
everybody?
as Al Gragg.
Back with my girl Jessie, ready to talk Pope again.
Yeah, so we're going to do the recap. Then you have one of our most scandalous popes to talk about.
Got a special segment.
I have a little bit of news and gossip.
Nice.
And then we're going to do predictions for next
Let's
episode.
get it cracking.
Because I can't wait to see what happens
Full play
next
tonight.
episode. I know. So let's start exactly with what you were saying, the opening scene with Sophia.
Yes, I mean, what is this guy's name?
Essence.
Leopold Essence. Yes. So this mysterious character just wanders in, sits down, starts grabbing her food. Later he leaves
So
a cockroach.
creepy.
He has an eye patch. What the hell, man?
My thing is, like, why would you sit there? If some dude came, like, creeping over to me like that, as soon as he even got near me,
You would get up and
I'd
leave.
get my shit up and walk out. Yeah, I'd just, like, throw I'm done eating, bye.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. She's not afraid of anything, I guess.
I guess she's not, but that's also the point where, like, I think, that's what I love about Paolo Sorrentino, because he's always messing with us. It seems so surreal. You're like, this can't be real. This
Right.
has to be a dream sequence.
That's what I
even
thought
though
it
is
was.
real. Yeah,
Yes.
That's how askew it is.
Yeah.
So
I totally thought that's what it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we learned. But later on, it does get confirmed. That he's there to basically deliver a message. And what does he talk about? He talks about, okay, you have to follow love, even though it'll lead to failure. We know where that leads when you start following people. And then she said something else crazy too about Sophia's husband. She said your husband is half a man or something crazy like
He
that.
said, can we call your husband a man?
What does that mean?
I don't know. So it's so weird because, like, I thought this dude was, like, giving her warning signs, but then later he leaves the cockroach in her car
Right.
to keep her from talking.
Yes.
Okay, so then it got all twisted, okay, right? Because let's just talk about these bugs. Because, like,
Okay.
I literally have a phobia of bugs. Okay, so,
Centipedes,
like, these bugs
cockroaches.
are, like,
Oh, my
bothering me.
goodness.
And
Yeah.
I'm like the god of bugs because if I start talking about them, they'll come for me. So I just want to get this over with really quick. But we keep talking about millipedes.
Right.
Because the millipedes keep showing up. So I'm like, what the hell does this mean?
Okay, and last week, and Jess, was it a millipede? It was a millipede on Lenny's body last week,
Yes,
right? Okay,
yes.
It's like cut out the episode.
So here's the thing. I looked it up because I was like, I got to know what this means. Like, what's the significance of a
Right.
millipede? So it says gamblers sometimes carry them to bring increased winnings and ward off bad luck. The lucky millipede possesses the following virtues: gambler's luck, general good luck, speed, energy, healing, improved social life, reduction in negative energy.
Wow. I mean, when you frame it like that, thank you for telling us, what it stands for. It makes sense. In perfect contrast to the cockroach, which stands for like toxicity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it's like crazy that they're playing with these bugs because now I'm like going back and thinking of every scene with the millipede, and now the cockroaches are the new bug of this episode.
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is
for these
disgusting.
people that have like these disgusting values and that are manipulative and, lower than dirt, it seems like.
Yeah. So it's weird. So when you just said that, follow the love, okay? Because then we see later Sophia's literally following a car. I guess
Right.
we'll get to that in a little bit because there's so much that happens in this episode. So then you have the intro, and the intro's different, like it is every episode.
Right.
It's a little. You can tell this time that it's much different than the previous ones. And then we cut right to Lenny breathing, and then Pope John Paul III again, like asking this nun, who did you prefer, Pius or Francis, and would you believe in me? Like, he's so weird about just like his ego, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, we talked about this. He's what do you call it? he has a huge fragile ego combined with
Yes.
low self-esteem.
Right.
You know, because obviously he's fishing for some type of what do you call it when somebody gives you praise? You know what I'm looking for. That word.
Yeah, he's just looking for praise.
Looking for praise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Acknowledgement.
Yeah. So it's just a really short scene. That's about it. But finally, we move on to Esther. And she's in it for more than 5 minutes this episode. And
She's in it
shit
way
is
longer.
getting crazy with her.
Esther's
okay?
getting cracking.
I mean, like, okay, so I'm so proud of her because she rolls up. I mean, why am I saying I'm proud of a prostitute? Because, like, I don't know.
But we are proud of her, though.
I am proud of her because she rolls up. She's like, no more Fabiano.
Uh-huh.
I want you to pay me, and I want
Bam!
$15,000 per time I come.
I loved that.
I
love
know.
that.
She's like a businesswoman now.
And okay, you nailed it. What's the show is so good about? Just because I was like, am I not supposed to praise her? Not because I have any moral judgment or look down on somebody who's a working girl, but because of what's happened to her character.
Right.
But more important than that, we do like the fact that, she seized control of her destiny.
Exactly.
So in that respect, compared to all the other sins these guys are doing, being a
This is
prostitute to me is like,
nothing.
this is the
Yeah.
least thing you can do.
No, it's so true. That's so true that you're saying that. So the thing about it is, like, I don't know what's going on with all of the people around her trying to manipulate her. I don't know if she's had like an awakening, but but this lady goes on to tell her you're a saint. And it's just like that one priest that was at that at the place where she lived. He would be like, "Oh, you're granted another miracle because you can become a prostitute now." And now she's like, "Oh, you're a prostitute, so you're a saint." So it's like weird because like these they're just manipulating her. Or maybe it means something else. I don't know.
I mean, it is convenient at the time when they give these, I guess, like compliments or whatever, like you're saying, but they can be also partially true too. They're manipulative, but they're also recognizing this change. And I do look at
Yes,
I
you're
do
right.
look at as further steps toward her evolution.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because she does say, like, oh, no one slept in this house in 20 years because he's always screaming all night. Whatever.
She's a healer, not a prostitute. You
Right,
know,
yeah.
she has this gift given by God.
Right. So it's just a weird scene. But I'm so proud of Esther. I'm like, man, she's like a bad.
Thank goodness. Yeah,
She's a
she
badass
seized
now.
control
Yes.
of her destiny, and we love Esther and we want the best
I do.
for her.
I love Esther.
Yeah.
So we see that. That was really great. And then it moves on to Sophia's husband. And finally, we get to the bottom of that room and what they're doing in there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know if we mentioned it last episode, but last episode we saw him snorting cocaine.
Okay.
But this time, you see a girl dancing, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, it must be like a stripper or something, because you noticed it's in that room that they were having the
The
little
goodie
conversation
room, yeah.
in. Yeah. And then you see 4 lines of coke on the table, and then there's like 3 dudes passed out.
I love that. She's like the only one awake, man.
Yeah. And she's just like dancing and like
She's
whatever.
doing her sultry thing,
Yeah.
and then like they're all passed out. She's like, these clowns. Let me just
Yeah.
get my money and bounce.
Yeah. So she does. And just like the guy said, follow the love. Well, Sophia's not really following the love. She's following the car that this girl goes
And
in.
FYI, this show intentionally conflates love and lust all the time, because I guess that's what the characters do. They're conflating love with like these illicit lusts, really.
Right. So now my question is, like, what is that place? Is that in the house, or is that a different location separate from Sophia's house?
Yeah, it has to be separate, I assume, because
Because how
we
would
keep
she-
going there all the time.
Yeah. How would she not know that they're all there? And like, I don't know. How would she not know this person came in the house?
Yeah, so I agree with you. So they can't be at her house, but even more so, which I know you're going to get to later, but I mean, I've always had a problem with how much she supposedly knows and doesn't know. She has to know a little bit more about her husband. Like, she knows, a woman knows, especially the way she knows her husband inside and out. You've got to know things about your husband, regardless whether you've seen the infidelity in front of you. That's just my thing, which went back to the same thing of like, okay, why is she acting surprised? Why is one minute she seemed to be loyal to Voiello? Why wouldn't she? Of course she knows what her husband's doing, but they're playing that whole naive side too.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, she's so smart. You're like, there's no way she didn't know this.
Yeah.
But I really feel like she is totally in the dark, and
Well,
she's
yeah.
now just finding out, and she's like, oh my God. And I actually feel kind of bad for her. But I'm like, girl, you are like such a badass. Like, just move on. Like, this guy's he's totally creepy.
If she's able to dismiss our boy who was at the last Pope as a scapegoat, and just kind of like brush it off her shoulders. That's the only reason why I find it hard to like feel sympathetic for Sophia.
Oh, you
she's
do?
Because she's so callous in other ways, and
you're right about that.
Yeah.
But I do feel bad for her. Like, this is the first time that some of these characters, this episode literally is like one of the first times some of these characters are showing like emotion.
Vulnerability, yeah.
Yeah, like her and Voiello.
True.
So I actually feel bad for her. I don't know why, but I do, because I don't like her husband.
Right.
And I don't like Spalletta either, so.
And again, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I loved Sophia's character is because while, yes, any woman would be hurt by finding out their husband's cheating on them, of course. And nobody wants to be put in that position. But I feel like the way they set up her character, even from last season, she was committing all of this like emotional adultery from like with Lenny to whoever she deemed it necessary.
You're right, yeah.
So all this, emotional infidelity is what we called it today. And so now like, she's so like shocked and awe that her husband's cheating on her. She's part of like the whole
ruthless
mafia.
But the thing is, it's not just like cheating. First off, this is like an underage girl, we find out.
Oh, true.
So I'm like, that's messed up.
Yeah, and all three of them.
Yeah, and like they're down there doing drugs and whatever else. So it's just like a lot. But I think she knew about the drug thing.
Probably.
I think she did.
That's like the least of the worries in the show.
Right,
that's what I mean. That's so
at
crazy.
Home. I know. So I don't know. So I get where you're saying like she committed all these other like emotional infidelities, but I still feel bad for her.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
She probably she probably in her mind she drew the line at being manipulative and sexual emotionally.
Yes.
She probably never expected that he would cross the line. And it's like when you got a wife like that and when they're showing what they do, it's like who would think you need to cheat? But as obviously cheating has nothing to do with like how well you're satisfied at home sometimes.
Yeah. So she needs to just move on. But she's like,
Jess, tell us as a married woman. Talk to us.
She's like this badass. So I'm just like, dude, like move on or like out these guys.
Okay.
But she can't because like she's getting threatened.
Right.
Now the cockroach shows up in her car and she's
Right.
like scared to talk. But now we know that her and Voiello are like tight, right?
Yes. Again, and we were going back to that last week. Like, how tight are they? And it made me question immediately because she's got this good relationship with the new pope, with John. She's got his phone number. They have these like secret rendezvous. She could immediately just go to him. But I'm guessing she went to Voiello probably because, well, it wasn't Voiello who dispatched her unless that guy Essence.
Yeah.
Who does he work for? Does he work for Voiello? Does he work for her husband Spalletta and them?
Yeah, so I'm so confused by that too. I'm so glad you brought that up because first I thought he was against her husband because he kept talking shit on her husband.
Right.
And but then he planted the cockroach, so I'm like, who is he siding with though? Is it Spalletta?
We has to be siding for Spalletta. He's protecting those guys.
Because he's a priest, right? Or he was just dressed in a priest outfit.
Yeah.
But
Who knows who this guy is?
He's protecting those guys for some reason. We'll probably find out, but we don't know yet.
Right.
So after all that, she finds all that out. There's like all these little tiny interactions with the Pope and Spalletta, the Pope and Sophia, or the Pope and Voiello, and like the Pope and Spalletta. What did you think of their little conversation? Because I was just like, come on.
That was the one time, and I'm curious what the audience thinks. If you guys tell us in the comments, and obviously that was the one time it didn't ring true for me that the Pope was going to side with this new squad, of Spalletta and, Bauer and Thomas Albrecht and whatever. These new power brokers over Voiello. Voiello to me always seemed like, like that rock of power that can't be moved. And I really didn't think it was, if Voiello's capable of like killing somebody, I really didn't think all that scandal that that Pope Brannix was worried about, I really didn't think that deemed necessary for him to put Voiello out. As a matter of fact, I know that's a fatal error.
Right.
But anyway,
same, yeah.
But yeah, it didn't. I don't know. It just didn't ring true to me that the Pope would actually make that decision, knowing Voiello's reputation. But maybe.
Yeah. So here's what happens. I mean, here's what I'm thinking. Tell me what you think here. Because, he has this conversation with Spalletta, and Spalletta's like, listen, I can explain all of it because we're just trying to make this guy, his name's like, it's like, I can spell it, but I can't say it's like, Guicciardini or something.
The Minister of Finance for Italy.
Yes. So they're like, we need to make him happy because he can get the government not to make us pay all these taxes and everything else.
Yeah. I'm just there to satisfy him. I'm not there, for my own pleasure.
But he goes on to basically say, like what we're doing is not nearly as bad as what Voiello's doing. So you need to get rid of Voiello.
Right.
My thing is like, what Pope John Paul III keeps saying is that I'm going to like get rid of all the bad stuff that's happening in the church, like all of the pedophiles and everything. We're going to crack down on that. But for some reason, he believes Spalletta and lets it go.
And honestly, I think...
And is it because he knows something about him?
It's that. It's his big secret.
Yeah.
You know, we've heard him talk about... The only allusions we've had to his past is that when they were showing him his photographs on the wall as a young punk rocker, he admits he was a punk, and there's something in the box, and as we find out later, has something to do with, you know, going through withdrawals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know...
Is that the only secret that Spalletta knows?
That can be... I think it's enough to make him... I think it's enough to make him nervous. That's the only reason he'll buckle, because I still don't think it's enough to, like...
is doing drugs a sin? I'm Catholic. I should know that. Why is it a sin?
It's you know what, it shouldn't be, because here's the thing.
I don't do drugs, but I'm just wondering, like, is it a sin?
I don't know. Me, you know, I've never done drugs, any legal drugs, but as somebody, I liken it to the same thing as doing alcohol in excess. You know,
but is that what it says?
Well, in the Bible, I know Jesus made wine for the wedding, but you're not supposed to be drunk and debaucherous, and they considered anything that was drugs, which I just consider another, because alcohol is a drug, but they consider that more like mystical and magical and doing something that was more, I guess, sinful. But me, I put, you know, drugs on the same level as alcohol, but you can obviously overdo both. That's just me. I don't, you know.
Because, like, would you be offended if the Pope was a drug addict?
I think everybody would be offended. I wouldn't be offended. I think I'd be like, rock on.
What does it matter, right?
Yeah,
maybe
let him
because
go back
your
there and get his
judgment is
fix.
impaired.
Yeah.
Maybe because your judgment is impaired. Maybe
There
you're like
you
doing
go.
messed up things or something.
Yeah.
But like, if that's the secret he has, like, that's nothing compared to what else is going on.
That's where the show is so good.
Maybe that's why it's wrong. Maybe like it's all wrong. You can't just say like, oh, because somebody did this so bad, it doesn't matter anymore. Or something.
And you know what it is too? It goes back to that whole thing. If someone is addicted to something, or if they have a secret, they can be blackmailed. That's the only problem.
And he even brings something like that up. He says something about blackmail.
Okay.
That Spalletta does when he's talking about Voiello.
Yeah, he's like, because we would never blackmail each other.
Oh yeah. Which he keeps bringing that up. Like, I'm giving you this. What did he give him? A Bentley?
Yeah.
I'm giving you this Bentley with. I don't expect anything from you. It's like, okay.
He's just basically
when you
saying,
say that, we know what that means.
Yeah, you'd rather me like give you a pat on the back and, you know, than beat you with the stick. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do this the easy way. You can do this the easy way or the hard way. Let's do this the easy way.
Right. So then the Pope goes and talks to Voiello, and he's basically like, I think you should step down.
Right, and Voiello is obviously shocked. You know, he's been there the longest out of any Secretary of State, you know, for the Pope. And yeah, again, I can't believe it. I guess, you know what we're supposed to take out of that? Because even though Voiello's been this fixture, we're supposed to take, again, that the new Pope, John Brannix, is that scared about his secret being revealed. Because otherwise, I didn't think it was enough of a power play. Yeah. And then, oh, wait, and here's the other thing. This was barely even there, but didn't they imply that that there's some type of financial impropriety going on, like there's some type of diversion, even though they're doing this threesome with the Ministry of Finance, that they're collecting money on the slide too, and tax shelters. So it's like even more crooked too. Right. Like if that, and I agree with Voiello, like if that came out, I think people would like be more pissed about that. What about the Pope doing drugs? But what do I know?
Yeah. So here's the thing about the Voiello thing. Is there more to? Do you think that there is more to the reason that he's getting let go? Aside from just Pope Francis's death, do you think there's more? Because Spalletta said, "Oh, like what we're doing is nothing compared to what Voiello's up to." Yeah, but I mean, you know, the shoe's on the other foot. I mean, they're still looking at, it's either got to be us or Voiello. Obviously, they know Voiello's been the biggest player in the game. But the fact that Voiello came for them, that was the problem. He came for them. He was ready to expose them. You know, it's like they haven't exposed Voiello, and you know, and Voiello didn't exactly do it like in a tactful, like in a checkmate kind of way. Right. He just basically went for the juggler, and they're like, okay, now he's got to go. Period. End of story. So it was either them or him. Sad or happy Voiello's gone?
Mixed feelings, and then again, let me tell you why, Jess. Because I don't want to like Voiello.
I love him though.
They're trying to make us love him, and especially when we'll see when he does all the parting gifts. Yeah. But he has been so scandalous for sure. Since last season, there was nothing that justified a lot of his manipulative and dirty, double dealing behavior, and sometimes it was even a bit sadistic. I thought he is with people. Just he loves giving orders. He's like that's just like I don't know, the way he loves it's just a terrible trait. So I I don't want to feel sorry for him, and they're trying to make it seem like, well, everything was for the good of the church and the papacy. But again, that rings false with me. I'm curious what the audience thinks.
Yes, so I'm sad to see him go. However, when he leaves his last day, he does all this great stuff. I'm like, why couldn't you have done this the whole time you were there? He's like helping all the nuns out. He's being so nice. So this is just like what I said earlier, where we're actually seeing like emotion from these guys. Because now Voiello, like he turns to the pregnant nun and he says like, "What are you gonna name him?" You know,
You're gonna name him after me.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's part of my problem. And that this sudden display of vulnerability, because we've never seen 1 inch of that.
Never.
In
No.
and
Same with Sophia.
Yeah, and so supposedly now he's all about the games, but it lacks poetry. No, I never saw you lack poetry. I just saw you as a ruthless mofo.
Yeah.
So, but
Which
yeah,
he was, and now he's doing all this good.
See, I don't know. Maybe that's part of his game too. That generating that goodwill when he comes back to make his power play. Whether he comes back,
I think you're right,
or not.
I think you're right.
There you go.
Yeah, because everybody's gonna be on his side now, right? Because
Yeah.
he gave everybody like beyond what they wanted.
Oh man, can we talk about these gifts? Okay,
Yes.
so he gives he calls her Reverend Mother, the abbess, the little person, the little woman who was dancing. He's like, how can you not know that this other woman was being sexually molested or sexually assaulted? He's like,
Yeah.
only because you have a lump in your breast, and that's the only reason why you've been distracted. So I'm gonna
Yes.
get you we're gonna make an appointment with the best doctor, and you can go see this oncologist. And he addresses everybody. He addresses the girl who's pregnant. He addresses the girl who's the kleptomaniac.
Yes, I
love
know.
that.
I know. I totally forgot about that part. Yeah, he's sending her to like therapy.
Yeah, that was
and
great.
the pregnant. I love the idea of bringing the orphan. We're gonna let the nuns have orphans in.
Right, and that's
So
gonna be her
cute.
secret son.
Yeah.
Her and Faisal.
Aw, I'm so
Faisal's
happy
son.
for them. Yeah,
That's cute.
that was really cute.
Yeah.
So there was some good that came of Voiello leaving, but I'm very sad
Yeah,
about
and
it.
even like again, how Sister Lisette called him out, like, "Yo, you intentionally slowed down the
Yes.
Wi-Fi so the word of our protest couldn't get out." To me, there's still stuff that's inexcusable, and I'm glad at least the show is not letting that aspect of him go.
Right. So that I don't know if we'll see any more Voiello, but we get back to Ester, and basically what happened with the lady is like she was like, there's more mothers in need of this. So we see Ester like dancing in front of like a bunch of dudes. The lady looks to be sitting in the background, and then Lenny shows up too.
Right, Lenny's there in spirit again,
Yeah.
as usual, keeping an eye on things.
Yeah, and so she's getting ready to leave, and they're like, "This is the end." Did you notice that she was dressed in like nice clothing now? She like looks totally different. Before she always looked like aloof and like she kind of like
Yeah,
never
now
was
she's like a
mess.
high class call girl,
Now
man.
now she's like all dressed like professionally, like has her hair
Prada
up, and
down.
she like is like making these rules and
Yeah, establishing these boundaries. But
Yeah.
can we just say though, like, okay, we already knew what's his name, Attanasio, the son who has we don't know what type of what do you call it? What type of sickness he has, or what he's
Right.
afflicted with? But when they cut to the faces of all the other afflicted sons,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. They kept going for like the Wolfman thing,
Dude,
where like
I know.
they
I
all
was
had
like,
hair on
is
their
this
heads.
for real? I was like, is this gonna turn into like some like mystical thing? Like
And they're
this,
trying to say something too. Like,
yeah,
it's-
because like this is so like the guy looks like a werewolf, right?
Sorrentino, that's what I mean. He doesn't do anything by chance, so he's effing with us again. That's just part of his poetry that how he wants to portray these characters, and maybe guys who are seen as monsters, but I don't know, maybe have a good loyal heart like a dog. I don't know.
Yeah. So basically, the lady's like, "Oh, we're done. This is ending. We can find younger girls that are
She
way
cuts
less."
her down. She's like, you're kind
does.
of old right now. You didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
They're getting bored with your routine. Even they're getting bored.
But
with
we
it.
know that's not it, right?
Right.
We know that's not the reason.
Yeah. So Esther's like, I need. What is his name? They have
Attanasio?
like the hardest names.
Yeah. Attanasio.
It's Attanasio, I think. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Attanasio.
She like needs him. She's in love with him.
Where did that come from, man? Where did that come from?
I'm just like in shock. I'm like, what? Because I had no idea what she was talking about.
That's what I was saying too. And again, I'm trying to put it. Okay, this is what I think they want us to take from Esther's journey. And if you really look at it, it's really almost like nurturing in the sense of like a Mother Mary, in the sense that she has all this warmth to give.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, this loving warmth and a loving heart. And apparently we're supposed to believe that she's fallen in love with the son, but that's what a lot of this is tied up with pleasure, because the mother was alluding to, like, yeah, you discovered pleasure, and obviously Esther didn't deny that.
Right.
And people, what's the word I'm looking for? People taking something that maybe starts out with good intentions and objectifying, which is the theme that we keep coming back to.
Right. So she falls in love with Attanasio is his name. I wrote it down. Yeah, I knew it was a hard one. So the weird thing that I was telling you about in the episode is, like, the mother's like, only I can love him in every sense. And I'm like, what does that mean? Because to me, the way that she was saying it is really creepy.
She kind of took care of him when he was in the wheelchair. She kind of, all right, son, is this good?
For real though, like, she's creepy. So that's what I'm taking it as.
I'll take that from she's taking care of her son,
but
however she deemed necessary, because she loves her son.
Okay, so is that what you thought? Or okay, because that's what I thought.
No,
too.
you're definitely right. The thing is, I didn't necessarily like go there in my head. I knew what they were saying.
Yeah.
But I guess the bottom line, what we're supposed to get is a mother's love knows no bounds, whatever she has to do.
Oh God, that's so creepy. Anyway, stop, Al. So Esther, like, doesn't like that response. You think she leaves. She comes back and she starts strangling the lady.
She chokes her ass
Esther has
out.
like this new power. Sophia's basically becoming Esther, and Esther's becoming Sophia, because
Right.
Esther's like now a badass and Sophia's like kind of falling apart.
Crazy.
But she goes and chokes this lady out, and she looks over and she's like, she basically is like envisioning the Pope, and she's like, please take my hand off her throat.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
He doesn't.
And then I'm like, oh, is this like his third miracle? Is he going to be now a saint because she's getting rid of this bad person or something?
And when they cut back to her, and I was like, okay, it would be really ballsy if she did kill her, but when she comes back to life, I'm like, either that's some surreal dream, or it's Lenny doing another miracle. I think it's Lenny doing a miracle.
Yeah.
He intervened and raised her up.
Right. And then also as Esther's leaving, Attanasio, he's like at the window, like screaming.
He's poking his head out like the wolf
weird.
man.
Yeah. He definitely looks like the wolf man.
Right. Now, is he crying? Here's the thing. Is he crying because she killed his mom? He knows his mom dead? Or is he crying because Esther's leaving?
I think he's crying because Esther's leaving.
And here's what the new Pope is so good at. It's like it just captures everything that's going around. It's kind of like when, the Pope was saying, no. It just kind of like captures, okay, it's the sum of all these things that are going on that are being like displayed by this character.
Yeah, I think he's sad Esther's leaving because he was upstairs like peeking over while they were talking.
Right.
I don't know if he knows his mom's choked out on the deck right now or not.
But he knows it just, I guess what I'm saying is it adds a layer to the sad moment.
Yes, definitely. And then also we finally get this interview, and what did you think of the interview?
The interview started out cool. We know that it goes left, and the only thing I could say, here's an interesting twist. We've heard the Pope say this, John Branagh say this a couple of times. God doesn't love me. God doesn't love me. And it hits me right here because I think, at least to me, it resonates to that point where I think we all have maybe kind of like this low self-esteem to a certain point where we feel unlovable. But he flipped it in the interview.
I noticed.
Yeah, but check this out. He said, God loved me more than I love myself, as if that was a turning point. But here's the other thing, Jess. If you look at it that way, maybe that's a tricky way of saying that God loves me more than I love myself, and I don't think God loves me, then I must really hate myself.
That's what I think it's about.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we find out, I was just shocked when they were sitting there watching him and he was kind of freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, I think he might have a heart attack. But then Spalletta's like, he's going through withdrawal. And I was like, oh no, that's what's in the box. He's doing drugs. He's an addict.
Oh my goodness. And shout out to our engineer, Jonathan, because he said that. We were like, what's his secret? And Jonathan, you said he's doing heroin.
Actually.
Yeah, I knew what was going on.
You knew what was going on. The voice of God right here.
Yes, seriously. And it's so funny because the night before, or whenever that was, the day before or whatever, you see Danny come in and says, do you need your box? And he's like, no, I don't need it. Oh, man.
I know, and they've been building it up so long.
Yes, so.
Question, is it me, or did I really see the millipede associate with the box?
Yeah, the millipede was in the
Okay.
box in one episode. It came crawling out of the
Thank
box.
you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so then I was like, is that the only thing that's in the box?
Following along your trope, if it represents luck, maybe, I don't know, it was working for him and things were falling into place, and I guess maybe the millipede isn't near the box anymore.
Yeah, it was walking out, so it's like, peace.
The millipede
Bye.
dipped.
You need these drugs to go back to bed. See ya. But anyways, let's change topics because that was the end of the episode, and we are gonna move on now to our favorite part of the episode, which is Al's most scandalous Pope segment.
Why do I get to be the most scandalous Pope? Am I like this most scandalous guy, most scandalous host?
Totally, yeah,
I'll
of
take
course.
that on. That's me. I'll rock with that. I'm just clowning.
Yes.
The most scandalous Pope this week, guys. It goes even deeper. Okay, have you guys heard of the Medici family? Okay, well, one of the members of that family was actually a pope, and his name became Pope Leo II. A member of Italy's powerful Medici family, Pope Leo II had a taste for finer things in life. We know his family was super rich. He funded some of the Renaissance's most famous artwork, but his big spending drove the church's finance into debt. To help balance the books, he relied heavily on, get this, the sale of indulgences. So he was the one who put that back on the map, as far as like you can sell forgiveness indulgences for maybe some of your relatives who've died and maybe they've been sitting in purgatory. You make the right donation, you get an indulgence. So very, very interesting. So it's interesting. I always find it interesting the way the Catholic Church works, and I think to a degree all religions have a bit of, anytime men are in there, it's going to be corruption. But I just find that, I don't know, with the Medici family, it's particularly revealing.
Oh my gosh. Maybe that's how the church, maybe that's how the church back in the day, kept their finances up because they're struggling now. So
I don't know, man. They're spending money, having it over first. I'm sorry, Jess, but the church is so scandalous. This is
I
the thing.
know. It really is.
I feel like it gets worse and worse every scandal Pope segment. But I'm interested to see where this goes as far as relation to the show.
And then we're going to move on to the news and gossip segment, which is very short, but I wanted to give this a quick minute to talk about. The new Pope creator, Paolo Sorrentino, confirms the HBO drama will be getting a final season because it's a trilogy.
Wow.
So we're going to get another season. He didn't give any more information than that, so we don't know when it's coming, but because there's a couple years between these seasons, the young Pope and the new Pope. Yeah, because I have like a 2-year-old child and I didn't have a child back then, so
right.
It's been at least 2 years. So it might be another 3 years. I don't know.
Are you gonna get pregnant again when it comes back?
No, please no. Please no.
All right.
But anyways, so moving on from news and gossip, that's all I got for you guys. But it's pretty juicy because I cannot wait to see what happens next episode, which leads us into our prediction segment.
Predictions.
I'm so excited.
And let's talk about this too. You alluded to the fact that, okay, a third season. So to me, obviously, that's pointing to Lenny will be back,
Yes.
right? In that third season. I don't think it's much of a limb for me to go out and say that we will see him again this season. And if you if you cheated and watched the previews like we did, we don't want to spoil it for you, but there's evidence of that.
Yeah.
But this again, the show never fails to try to leave you on a what do you call it, a cliff.
Yeah.
Where like Lenny stops breathing for a second and the flame goes out of the candle.
Totally.
But yeah, so there's a lot to guess there. Oh, and also, I think we might have another terrorist attack. I think we're overdue for one.
Oh, geez.
Something that's going to really impact what's going on in the church and maybe like whether they get favor or how it affects them politically.
Wow. Yeah. So it's so funny because HBO loves killing off like really lovable characters that are like big characters for shows. So last episode, I thought at the end when the nuns came running in and the like machine kind of went off or something that Lenny died. And then this episode when he like took the last sigh and then the candle went out, I'm like, oh great, he died again. Like, but I knew there was a third season coming. So when I saw the previews, we've seen previews of Lenny waking up, but I just thought it was the preview from the first episode where he got up in kind of like that dream sequence. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to wake up and I think he's going to come back and I'm so excited to see what happens.
It's the only way things can get set right because things can't get any worse than they are now.
I know. So guess we'll have to see what happens next episode. So thanks so much for joining us, guys. Al, tell everybody where they can find you.
Everybody, your boy Al Gragg. You can find me on Instagram at alg_Jamaica House Film. Blah.
And I'm Jessie Zahner. You can find me all over social media, and we will see you guys next week.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.